Hi, this is Speaking to the Fog. You Don't Look Sick episodes. So I've talked a little bit about now by this point what I go through to get ready for these videos. I talked about a little bit what people feel like and have to deal with an invisible illness. I've gone through all of my symptoms, um, and they're all very personal and internal and hard to see if you're, especially if you didn't know me before I got sick. And uh, I also talked about things that exacerbate my symptoms. So those are so now I'm just gonna wrap it up kind of with saying, despite all of this strife and all of this illness, I'm still the same person on the inside. I'm still that person who's wanting to strive to be better. I'm still that person who takes really pride in everything they do and wants to work through her illness and do great things. And I struggle to be heard. I struggle to talk. I struggle to make friends. And I really, just because I'm sick doesn't mean that all of a sudden I've all of a sudden developed this crazy urge to get attention or this crazy urge not to work, and to say that chronic fatigue syndrome is not a serious illness and that it doesn't exist, or you think people are whiners, is so completely laughable to me, because I bet some of these people who are saying that, if you put them in my body, in my brain, for not even an hour, those people would not be able to handle it. I've I've developed this over years and years of time, and I have worked on a lot of coping strategies. I know how to speak, even though sometimes I don't have any internal dialogue. I'm just foggy up there. So I'm trying to speak through not really having much to go off of. I know I've really practiced looking at people in the eye and and nodding and stuff when I need to, even though I'm not exactly taking in what they're saying, because that's what people expect of me. Um, everything I do is tainted, and it's hazing my. I have this like haze just every day, and I feel like I haven't been fully in reality since I've gotten this sickness. So, you know, a normal person might be thinking about the future. A normal person might be, sitting there watching TV and not even realize how aware of what they are doing and where they are. I don't have that benefit. I'm surrounded by a haze all the time. So you could be watching TV and somebody say your name and you look over. I'm watching TV and that's all I can focus on, because I can only focus on one thing through the fog. So you say my name and I'm not going to even be paying attention, because I can't even, it's like it doesn't exist to me. Nothing except for the TV at that point exists. So I had at one point did a whole thing on philosophy and stuff, and me asking questions and everything, and it's because my reality is so different. And people who are healthy, or even people who have different illnesses than me, or people who are, you know, completely disabled, in a wheelchair, paraplegic, or who have cancer or something, they look at me and they go, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not fine. I play fine, and I I'm sitting here and looking at you in a completely different way than you're sitting there looking at me. Very, very infrequently do I sit with somebody who knows exactly what I'm talking about. And usually it's really sad, because it's either somebody like me who has to deal with people all the time, or sometimes there'll be, one time it was somebody who's dying of cancer, and they have to go through all this in order to be with me, to be sitting in my reality with me, to actually be sitting there, not separated by different worlds. And it's elating in some ways, because here's somebody who can completely, fully understand, who I can sit there and say things, and it's not them just going, oh, that sucks, or oh, I wish that didn't happen, or nodding their head in agreement and not understanding at all. This person 100% knows what I'm going through, but I hate it. If I could be the only one in the world who has to deal with this, I would be so happy, because I would not wish this on anyone, because this sickness did the one thing that is like almost, the worst. It's invaded my mind, and it's completely changed it, and it's affected my reality. And on top of that, it's affected it in a way people can't see. So not only that, I have to try to describe to people what it is, and you can't describe something and if people have never experienced it. And so it's really hard. It's like trying to explain to the colorblind what the color blue is. How do you do that if they've never experienced it? You can try to, and they can somewhat grasp the concept, but they just can't fully take it in until they experience it themselves. And what's really and I don't say this in a way that I'm not saying it because I want people to go, oh, X, Y, I want to say this or whatever. But I know I've never felt that way. So don't, and no, like, I know that you know that. I know you don't. That's fine. You can say whatever you want to me. I don't care. Like, it's fine. You can speak to me about this stuff. You can say what you're thinking. You can talk to me about suggestions and all this stuff. Don't be ashamed because you're not in the same place as me. I'm happy you're not in the same place as me. I'm happy you've never experienced this, because the few times that I have somebody sitting next to me, I know, and I reach out to them, and that's why I did these blogs, where kind of me reaching out to them and saying, hey, I feel this way too. Here's some information. Here's some just, comfort maybe. And just letting them know that I'm sitting here. And this is a picture I get in my mind of me at the end of this pier on a lake. It's this big, and it's stretched out in this mirrored lake. And I'm sitting at the end looking like I'm waiting for something, and there's fog all around me. And I'm just sitting there waiting, and what I'm waiting for is to be saved, to have somebody just fix me. And so I just want people to know that I'm sitting there waiting like you are. So yeah, that's the end of this segment, and I will have more interesting things to talk about. And keep watching, like my videos, subscribe to my blog, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you next time on Speaking to the Fog.